Alright, so if there is no self, what is it that is making choice? Um, you could also ask on some other videos, what is it that is knowing if there is no self? But maybe with the analogies that come with how I will explain what it is that makes choice, it'll kind of help understand both scenarios of what it is that is knowing and what it is that is making choice if there is no self. So, to understand choice, I think you have to understand thinking and thought, right? Because you assume that it is the thought that is making the choice, right? So, let's look at it for a second. If I were to ask you, what band would you prefer, Tool or Three Doors Down? We know the answer is Tool. But during the process of me asking you that question, there's, a pause, a gap. After I asked you that question, pause, the choice is made, and then you think Tool. What is in between that pause? In between me asking the question and your thought, Tool. Awareness, right? Awareness is always there. That's the kicker. But in between that, there's always awareness, right? So let's go to the third thought. The third thought after that would be, I chose Tool. And this is where the illusion of the doer, of the chooser, of choice comes into play. Because now that thought has created the illusion that I chose Tool. And this chain of thought just increases the illusion of there being a separate entity within you choosing and thinking. But you can notice within these gaps between the question and the answer, there's always a pause. Choice is made first. And in awareness, it being the whole, selfless, there is no chooser in that. It's more of just a happening in that way. And another analogy I could give you to kind of help you understand how awareness itself could be that which is choice or knowing would be to kind of explain how awareness is also responsible for seeing, the stuff which seeing is made of. So you would think the occipital lobes are what's responsible for seeing, like the stuff that seeing is made out of. Because whenever someone's occipital lobes, their eyes are damaged, you can no longer see, right? But in them same people that have their occipital lobes damaged, when they dream, in their dream, the eyes that they appear to be seeing from see clearly. Their dream is clear. The eyes that they are looking through from their dream is seeing everything clearly. Which in itself shows you that by principle, it's not the occipital lobes that are responsible for the stuff in which seeing is made of. The lobes just give consciousness the opportunity to arise in the form of seeing. And someone might ask, and I've had somebody ask this as I've wrote about this in a post before, well, what about the people that were born blind and could never see? What happens to them in a dream? I was never born blind and have not been blind, so I don't know. But in my research of this, they still have dreams of shapes and patterns, and it's just more so containing sensations of like smell and taste in their dreams. But the kicker to this is, in their dreams, they're still seeing triangles or shapes or whatever it is, right? So it's not necessarily that the awareness isn't responsible for seeing. It's that since they were blind their entire life, they have no memory whatsoever of what anything looks like for this brain to create in the dream something for the awareness to see. No? I'm pretty sure that's how that works. I'm not blind, but from what I've researched, that's what that implies to me. So still, awareness is responsible for seeing. So if that can make sense to you, that analogy, you can kind of grasp how awareness itself is knowledge, is knowing, is choice, is literally everything. But that thought technique, you can sit with yourself and notice that before you have the thought, which is your answer, there's always that pause of awareness that seems to just make the choice, right? It's just awareness itself, and the whole is awareness. So there's not necessarily any separate entity making a choice. It's more like a happening in that way, action and reaction. It comes to a point to where, from my perspective, there's no longer, just like how there comes a point there's neither self or no self, there comes a point where there is neither free will or not free will. Because from my understanding and how I see this is free will, who is the chooser, who is it that is knowing, these are all concepts of mind, frozen views of reality. This is just a conceptualization that the mind does. So when you become a point of awareness, and you're just witnessing everything for what it is, you can still have knowing. And in fact, that's how you have the knowing, right? In the now, in recognition, or in the present, you have that recognition. That's how when you drop all knowledge, right? So see, there's another thing. They say, those who know nothing, right? Well, that's what it is. You're dropping knowledge itself. The brain's knowledge, its conceptualization, in order to accept true knowing. Right? So you're dropping the knowledge. Yeah, I just realized that you're dropping the knowledge that the mind contains, everything that it considers outwards, everything that it thinks it knows about in every individual object. And you relax back into awareness to have true knowing. So it's not that there's anything making choice, or not necessarily anything knowing. It is reality itself, awareness itself. And of course, awareness itself is selfless. It doesn't take any form, any shape. Kind of like a flame. If I light a candle in the night, when I come back in the morning, is that the same flame in the morning that was there at night? No, it's continuously changing. There is no self, yet a continuum. That is what awareness is, the qualities of awareness.